It's like turning a sprinkler on a parched lawn, and all of a sudden it's green and lively again. And that's what excites me about this. That's what will happen.
The opportunity to work with something like this, you jump on. The opportunity to be part of something that really is new.
It could be something that really ties the city together.
Where now you have this wall between these neighborhoods, you would suddenly have all these connections.
Now what we have is an opportunity to bring this land back into the fabric of Charleston.
Charleston is a city that did not have a master plan. You know, it was built building by building, street by street, block by block.
One of the hallmarks of the city, if you walk through the historic city, and really much of the city, is that the scale and intimacy of the city is really palpable. I mean, you really get a sense of it.
You've got this gorgeous city that's here because the preservation movement started here, and then successive generations have supported it and expanded it.
The preservation ethic had been set, the historic districts existed. So today you have as well preserved an old city as any in America. I mean, that is a lesson of Charleston. If you don't do anything else, just don't tear down anything old.
And it was a tough battle, because that was, to many, fighting progress, which the city was so hungry for. And many battles were lost.
In the last 50 or 75 years, as the automobile came to dominate the landscape, this old city that grew up and was designed before the automobile had to be retrofitted to fit the automobile in.
From what I know about urban development is we want to slow the traffic down in cities. When we slow the traffic down, we create consumers. When we slow the traffic down, people take time to enjoy the city. What I-26 did was pretty much was a flyby.
It severed neighborhoods. The crosstown, which was the off-ramps, just sliced right through neighborhoods, things you wouldn't do now.
It creates a kind of no man's land underneath. It's virtually uninhabitable. And to this day, it's a scar in our city's cultural and physical history. And if you drive through it now, you'll see that.
You can tell that a lot of the roadways that were there, they got disconnected and dead end. In particular, some of the smaller residential neighborhoods, those roads, they just kind of terminated. They didn't make a cut through. So by doing that, they kind of segmented those neighborhoods, you know, one on one side, one on the other.
There's just literally this kind of wide section of the middle of the city that is just cuts the city in half.
I-26 was built in an existing rail corridor adjacent to it. And that rail corridor was actually one of the first passenger rail services in America, called the Best Friend of Charleston. It ran from Charleston up to Georgia. That rail corridor has existed here since the 1820s.
And it was in active use until the early 2000s. They had a few customers down here, but has not been in use since.
One of the weakest part of our city is that corridor, the I-26 corridor, and the rail line that goes through the city all the way down to, say, Calhoun Street. But on the other hand, it's a great opportunity because it's largely undeveloped, and it's a spline that runs virtually 2/3 of the way through the depth of the peninsula. So it's an amazing sort of continuity that you don't often have within the city.
It almost feels like you've got this great place in the city that's behind this screen that nobody can see. And suddenly you lift the screen and everybody goes, wow, I didn't even know this place was here.
is a tremendous opportunity for transportation, for reconnecting communities in micro ways, just moving across the street, as well as bigger ways.
One of the things that can be accomplished by this linear park is this as a connector, as a way of linking other sort of public spaces in the city into one system or network of movement through the city.
Right now, essentially everybody has their back to this thing. So we've got this opportunity now to create essentially a new frontage for people.
Instead of building a park and expecting the participants to come to that park, you're building the park where they are.
Taking that walk from Mount Pleasant Street, say to Hughley Street, and watching all of this new life on that path, that's something I think I'd look forward to.
Having a park here, I think, would be really supported by people who are looking to move into that neighborhood and, kind of put some roots down in Charleston.
This park would obviously be a game changer. You can see the direction, you can see the future if we made that a nice park and we added some public art and we added points of interest and places for people to congregate, that it wouldn't just be used for its functionality but also in a pleasurable way.
Neighborhood spaces that people would sit, walk, talk, greet and meet other people.
As a school, to be able to provide not only our students, but with our faculty and staff, a recreation area, we think this is paramount to the happiness and general well-being of the citizens of Charleston.
To look out and see something other than perhaps just the concrete of the highway that's there, that you'll be able to see something that's beautiful.
Just to give the opportunity for people to have a common ground for communal engagement, where you bring diverse peoples together in a space that's public, that's respected and cherished by all, I think is really critically important.
It's a public space around which to guide the development of the city. This could be a great thing for the people that live here now and the people that will live here in the future.